My sister passed away suddenly in 2005. She died of a massive heart attack out of the blue one morning at her job. And we got a phone call, and I had to drive into the city with my mother, knowing my sister was already dead. My dad was already there waiting. Seeing your parents deal with that is real hard, you know. It was dark, you know, it went dark for me for a while. After Michelle died, after my sister passed away, I went to a psychiatrist, and I feel like he healed me somehow because he told me the 3 things. And he said, these are the 3 things you need to do to release stress and tension from your life. Running, meditation, or yoga. Those are the 3 stress relievers guaranteed in someone's life that will operate and work.
Guys, before we get started, just want to let you know, if you have any questions for us, please click the link below. You could ask us any questions via email, and we'll get back to you by the end of the episode. All right, guys, we're here on episode 47. We got very special guests and our good buddy, Lonny Narson. Lonny's a coach in the community, owned a DJ company for years. Him and his wife are doing real estate together for a while now, and we're just really juiced up to have Lonny on here. He loves going for his runs, so
yeah.
We got to make sure he gets out there and hits the reservoir today. So thank you for joining us, Lonny.
Thank you for inviting me. I was kind of waiting on this invite, guys. Yeah. I'm not going to lie to you. When I walked into Certified, Billy said, "You on the calendar yet?" I said, "On the calendar for what?"
There you go.
And he said, "The Modern Man Podcast." And I said, "No, Pete never asked yet." And I said, "So it's about friggin' time." So thank you, guys.
So Lonny hits me up. We probably locked this in, what, like 3 weeks ago? After.
Yeah.
No, but, and I was shocked. So we had talked about it. Lonny comes into work. We sit down, we talk, and like, I know Lonny through Pete and mutual friends, and Lonny's got great energy. He gives to everybody. He's ball of fire, though. So Lonny asked about coming on, and me and Pete kicked the conversation, and life happens. You know, my dad got really sick, so like we never revisited. Like we had a full schedule. We weren't sure where this was going. Lonny hits me up a couple weeks ago. My dad had just passed, and mentioned getting on. We bring him on, and we just had a conversation off camera.
Yeah.
That I wasn't anticipating to have about my father and how I watched him slowly decline every day. We were talking about our parents being superheroes, and let's kick back to that. But tell us a little bit about you.
Well, all right,
and where you're at.
I grew up in the area, so I'm a Howell kid. You know, my parents are from the Bronx, but I grew up here in Howell. I moved here in the 1st grade, and so it was weird moving here, being Jewish, quite frankly, because I was one of the first Jewish kids in my area, Howell, for sure.
And you're proud of your faith, too.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't consider myself very religious, but I'm more spiritual, and my parents and my grandparents, and we all had to go through a certain amount of trials and tribulations to get where we are today.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I respect my culture and my history. So growing up in Howell was a weird scenario for me, growing up with my sister and my family, and but that's where I started. I came from, very modest roots. My mom was a teacher and a director of a nursery school in the area. My dad was an engineer. And so all the years growing up, it was like my dad was almost invisible because he was always working all the time.
Yeah.
He worked in Manhattan. He worked on the 59th Street Bridge, the Newark Airport Extension, the Carteret Toll Booth Plaza, like all these different projects. I'm super proud, and I would show. Yeah. I was so proud of it, and he would take me to job sites, and they'd let me weld, and they let me weld the 59th Street Bridge in my head. I'm sure I wasn't doing anything, but at the job site they treated me like I was something, and it made me feel special, and it made me feel like my dad was special, and I think that was probably what they were trying to accomplish. And my mom, growing up in the area, was this director of a nursery school, and so growing up everywhere we went, it was Mrs. Narson this, Mrs. Narson that. Parents would literally put their kids at our table at restaurants, and they would sit with us. And so growing up in the area, it was very easy for me to, I was a terrible student, like I'm sure probably both of you were. I can't imagine you were both 2 geniuses. I mean, I was no rocket scientist either, but I think we had this other something like this other superpower where we're able to communicate and able to win people over and kind of let people see our true identity. And with that comes a natural ability to talk to people. And for me, that was the easiest way through everything. They made me play a lot of sports, my parents. I wanted to play sports, but they made me play it because they knew I'd be in trouble if I didn't. Yeah. If I wasn't on the sports field, if I wasn't on a wrestling mat, if I wasn't playing baseball, I'd be somewhere getting in trouble. Right. And for my parents, there was no other way. It was just sports. Yeah. So you grow up in this community and you're like one of a kind of as this Jewish kid, and you're a pretty good athlete, and I'm 6 feet tall, 185 today. I was 6 feet tall, 185 in the 8th grade. I never grew again. Yeah. You know, like I got bigger and wrestled heavyweight in high school, which I know Pete can't believe, but
I can't believe that either.
I went to college and played football. I played college football at CW Post, and I wasn't very good because these guys were all monsters. Yeah. And so once I realized it was my dad's dream to play college football. It wasn't my dream, but it did get me into college, you know, and once I was in college and I was not playing football anymore, I realized school wasn't for me, and so my mom said, you have a few choices, you know, you can either go to acting school, you could go to like culinary school, like be a chef, or you could get a full-time job, you know, pick what you want. And at that time, I was working for a DJ company, and I was dancing and doing parties, like where I would go to kids' bar mitzvahs and dance, or at people's weddings, and you know, do these events. And I loved that. Like that was like my superpower. Like I didn't know I had until I started doing it. And I started acting, and I mean, I think anyone who knows me knows that I love to smoke weed. Like I smoke pot, and that's like my thing. I don't drink. I'm California sober. I mean, I'll drink with my dad on Thanksgiving or something, like one drink, but I'm not a drinker. So I started smoking weed. So for me, memorizing the lines was really, really difficult because I wasn't prepared to quit smoking weed. So acting,
I didn't see that coming.
So yeah, I'm sure not. So acting was like a thing for me that I could do, like improvisational work, and if it was like some sort of like comedy routine, I was good. And I could memorize one like monologue, so I was good for that. But when it came to like full, like I couldn't do it. So I was like, all right, I'll just concentrate on my DJ career.
Now, did you actually act? Like, were you?
Of course, I went to the actor studio. I auditioned for tons of things. I got a few different silly roles, like basic, like NYPD Blue.
But you did stuff. Not many people can say that.
Oh yeah, no, I auditioned. I got parts. I was in Caroline stand-up. Like I had to go audition and do all these different things. And you walk into a room and you think you're like awesome and good looking and like, oh, I'm gonna crack it over here. And you walk in and it's like Antonio Sabato Jr. is in the room, and look, and there's like a Leonardo DiCaprio's over there, and you're like, and I'm like serious. Those are the people that I was the same age as. So I'm walking into these other auditions with all these people that are like famous. For example, I went on an audition for CSI. The original CSI, the one like with LL Cool J and Chris O'Connell.
Yeah.
I auditioned for the LL Cool J part. Who do you think they're giving it to? Like me?
I'd have bet on Lonny.
Or LL Cool J, right? So like you get there, you're like, oh, and it's funny because people always tell me I look like Marlon Wayans, which I know sounds funny to you. Like, I know. I swear to God, it's like everybody. You're not gonna know who you look like. I'm like, I bet you I do. I've heard it before. So my mom says like. I'm going to acting school, and the DJ career is going pretty well. And she said to me, why don't you open your own DJ company? And so my parents weren't rich. I said that before. But my aunt had a couple bucks. And so I went over to my aunt, and I was like, you think you could lend me $20,000? And she was like, I actually asked her for 10, and she gave me 20. She's like, you're going to need more than that. Wow. And so she gave me 20 grand, no questions asked, no parameter or time limit on how to pay her back or when or, yeah, God bless is right. Aunt Ruthie was legit. She was a battle axe, but she was cool battle axe. Yeah. And she gave me the 20K, and I told my old boss I was leaving, and I already had the plan and ready to move forward and open my DJ company. It was between, my initials are L-A-N, Lonny Adam Narson. So it was between Alien Entertainment, L-A-N, Alien Entertainment, or Noble Productions, the street my dad grew up on, Noble Avenue. Gotcha. And him and his friends are all, to this day, still best friends. And the ones that are alive, obviously. And so but we grew up the Nobles. Like we grew up, it was part of our vernacular. It was Nobles. And so I wanted my business to kind of emulate that sort of like longevity and friendship and sort of thing. Yeah. And so that's how Noble Productions was born. I paid my aunt back. I booked my first party first day. I was in business. My dad was so proud of me. He had my business cards. He gave one of my business cards to a kid I went to high school with who was marrying a girl I went to high school with. They called me that day and via fax machine. I swear to God on my life. We booked that day via fax machine. They gave my dad money. The next day, they met him, and they sent me the contract back via fax. And it was like, I couldn't believe it. Like
I bet you were on cloud 9.
Dude, I couldn't believe somebody trusted me like that. Like, I took it so serious. I still take it so seriously. I still own Noble Productions. You said owned before in the opening.
Oh, my bad.
No. I didn't know if you still realized. I still own Noble Productions. We do about 300 private events a year.
That's a lot.
I know. Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I mean, that's...
Bar and bat mitzvahs, weddings, communions, corporate events. So I have an office at the Hilton East Brunswick, and my main office is in Marlborough. We've been there since 1997.
Do you have multiple crews?
Yeah.
You send out? I don't know how that works.
So we have about...
Painting the picture of that block, you have created
that.
I have about...
You've created the Nobles.
I have about 40 to 50 employees at any given time, and so they rotate over the course of the many years.
Yeah.
And having this many people in the business, having this many event crews going out, that's the most stressful part of this industry.
Now, how do you manage the stress? Is that part of the reason, like, you've kind of... Now, I've linked up with you later in life, but I know that today... He could call you, because I'm not, and be like, hey, bro, let's hit the reservoir and bang out 5 miles. And odds are you're either already there or getting ready to go, and you're definitely willing to do it.
Always.
So it's like running kind of how you deal with some stress? Or?
So, yeah, it's a great question. So I heard you guys talking before about some stressful breathing techniques and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique, and it's all awesome. My sister passed away suddenly in 2005. She died of a massive heart attack.
Yeah, it's tough.
Out of the blue, just one morning at her job. And we got a phone call, and I had to drive into the city with my mother, knowing my sister was already dead before we knew for sure. And my dad was already there waiting. And so seeing your parents deal with that is real hard, you know. And so
I can very much relate.
yeah, it was dark. You know, it went dark for me for a while.
So
one of the ways to that I found to help with the with stress in that scenario, with like death is a whole different kind of stress.
it's a fucking monster to deal with.
It's not like work stress, because like work stress is like, you know, fuck it. Like it's what am I supposed to fucking do? It's work stress. Kid stress is like a whole other kind of stress. Like you pray for your children just to be well.
Yep.
That's the only stress. You just want them to be safe and happy and well. But like death stress is so different, because you never can go back. You know, and so
you can't have that conversation that maybe went unhad. You could never give that hug that you maybe should have gave.
No, I'm lucky. In my family, we practice a lot of love and self-care, and so there's nothing unsaid in my house. And
you heard us talking. It was the opposite. Now, a lot of love.
Yeah.
But not a lot of coddling, not a lot of hugging. So like, you heard me say before, and I don't mean to hijack your...
No, this is your show.
We had no, it's our. We're sitting here. We're here together. But we had a good exchange off camera, and I just want to get a point across. So for you, I get it. You grew up in that environment. I didn't. So like at the end of my dad's life, I wanted nothing more than to like reflect and have those memories. And I have great memories with my dad. But the most important thing at the end was for me to hold his hand while he was not in a great spot. And I got to. And if I didn't get to have the interaction I had right before he passed, I don't know how I'd feel about it. But at least you had that nurturing environment where you did hug, you got that all out of the way, you didn't yearn for anything else.
So my sister and I had a very contentious relationship. It wasn't perfect with her and I. My parents and I have and had and always had a great relationship, and my parents and my sister always had a great relationship. But when there's only 2 of you, and one of you is like the smart one, and one of you is, in her words, I'll say, the popular one. You know, when I was going out with my friends and she was a senior and I was a freshman, and I'm going out on a Friday night and she's not, you know, it was hard for me to even see that. It was hard for me to get like, I used to think like, how am I gonna get married before her? Because she wasn't like the kind that had a million boyfriends chasing after her. So you start to think about what she didn't have, but
yeah, but you can't put that shit on you. Not
then, I know, bro, but like, it's death, it's real life.
No, I know.
You say you can't, but hey, guess what? It's real life.
I get it.
It's what really happens. You know, there's a lot of talk about how people solve their problems, but the reality is that are they ever solved?
No.
They're works in progress.
Yeah, listen, you heard it before.
Sure.
Every day, for me, has been a fucking struggle.
Yeah.
Every fucking day since my dad passed. Bro, I feel like if it could go wrong, it has. I miss my father every day. He was my Superman. I said that to you.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I got to watch him die bit by bit over the last few years.
I'm really sorry about that, Bill.
Listen, life is life, right? Death is death. But I sit here today, and I get what you're saying about there are things that you have to deal with, and do you ever solve the problem? I'll never solve that problem, that my father's not here, that I don't have him to guide me. But I solved the situation for me because I found a way to rest my mind at night to bring me down, and I got peace, and I got some sleep out of it, which I needed for recovery. I have added resources to my life, like a lot of stuff that Dave Seidenberg has said to me. I started practicing. I got in the cold plunge, started breathing, whatever it was. Stuff that brought me down. And I'm similar to you in the sense where, like, I can elevate myself real fast. Previously, it was through aggression. Lately, it's been with sorrow. And I don't want that shit anymore. So, like, my father's always going to be dead. Yeah. I'll always have those fucking feelings. But I just got to figure out how to manage it.
Well, so I went, after Michelle died, after my sister passed away, I went to a psychiatrist, which, you know, I didn't go to a lot. I just went to him once, honestly. Yeah. And I feel like he healed me somehow because he told me the 3 things. And he said, these are the 3 things you need to do to release stress and tension from your life. There's only 3 ways to actually lift it: running, meditation, or yoga. Those are the 3 stress relievers guaranteed in someone's life that will operate and work. And I wasn't going to get ready to do some yoga. So I started doing transcendental meditation, which I started practicing. I never went to the way you're supposed to do it is go into the Transcendental Meditation Center in New York City and spend $2,400 and then get a coach for $3,600 and then I didn't do that. I didn't have the money at that time to do that. What I did was I went online, I found as much information about it as possible. I found my word and I started meditating. And if you know anything about TM, you know you just need your word and to find your place. You get 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes at night. And that was when I actually started running also. I just started with a mile and that led to 2 to 5 to 10. I've ran 2 half marathons in the woods by myself in my life. Pete knows. He asks me to run halves with him all the time. I tell him, no, I don't do it for anybody else or for any other reason, just for me. Yeah. And so Pete's funny because like I say to Pete, like, let's go for a run and he'll come run. But Pete's like the only kind of guy where you could just, in the middle of a 5-mile run, say, no, by the way, we're going to do 10 today. And he's just like, okay, you know, and like he does 10 with you. And like, you know, like, so you got to have friends like that are into it also. But like a lot of it is really just for me. I go out there. And so, right, we run together and talk about it. And we haven't been out there enough lately, but.
It's been a while, but I'm thinking.
You guys had a good run though. I remember were.
Yeah.
I'm thinking back to a lot of those runs and a lot of the conversations that would go on, and there's so many different things.
It's a lot of what we talk about right now.
A lot of things we're talking about now, but you know, there was one time where I kind of got there and I was like, you know, Lonny, my phone and all this work stuff, and he's like, dude, just put it aside. Just put it aside for now. We're gonna be out here for an hour. And let's just go. And I was like, all right, perfect, man.
Every message will still be there. The messages will still be there.
The messages will still be there.
And any problems are still going to be there, too.
Yeah. You know, like it's an hour.
Yeah.
It's not, you're not leaving to Australia. Yeah. It's 1 hour to your own head for yourself. And like for me, that hour is it's non-negotiable. My wife, so you talk about like a superhero, bro. Like you're married to one. You're married to one.
My wife's solid.
My wife saved my life, bro. I was into drinking and drugs, and I was lost, bro. I was really not in a great place. And unlike a lot of other people, I did not find God. It's like actually the opposite. Like, you know, like when someone special to you dies, like you start to question it.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But I found Katie, you know, and for me, she was she never asked me to be anything but myself. She never tried to change me from being drug and drinking Lonny. It just changed because
you wanted to be better for her.
I wanted to be better for her. I was like,
yeah.
Dude, this is the greatest human being I've ever met. I can't believe she even likes me, let alone loves me to marry me. And like, she takes care of me mentally. She's just, so when, like, let's go backwards, right? So I own Noble from 1997. And it's always been up, 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 up. It's never been like we've had a couple of years of less than best, but I mean, every year couldn't be 2007, you know? So we all had, you know, it goes a little bit like that in business. We all know that. But in good business, you know, you ride out bad times, you get through it. But then COVID hit, right? So I tell my guys, I have an office. I tell all the guys, take your computers home. We're going to go home for a couple of weeks. Did you know? Nobody knew.
No, I didn't see that coming.
I didn't see that coming either, Billy. So my life depended on those parties. I have 2 kids, an 11-year-old and a 9-year-old. Like I feed these children on hosting events. You know, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Certified Automobile Corporate event. We're here. That's how I make a living. And so now I come home and my wife is like, that's it. 2 weeks off, you're going to real estate school. And I was like, if I'm going to be honest, I was like, I don't want to be a realtor. She's like, you're going to real estate school because once you pass, then I'm going to get my exam, and then you don't have to do anything except for market. And I was like, okay. So then I went and I take it seriously like I do everything else. If I give something, I give it 100. And so I took my computer back to my office, and I went back to my office and I took that real estate exam, which was like, the class was 2 weeks, 75 hours, and I did it straight through the 2 weeks. You take that little test at the end, and then they tell you, okay, your test is in a month. You got to call up the real estate commission, blah, blah, blah. Now I wake up the next morning, like a month later, I'm testing every day. I'm studying and studying and studying. Like, I mean, like fully, like a lunatic studying 4 days a week, 4 times a day. And so I wake up in the morning for that test, to an email, Mr. Narson, your test has been canceled. Due to over-need and understaffing and blah, blah, blah. Okay.
That's when everyone was jumping in.
I was gagging, crying at 5:30 in the morning, punching my dresser in my house, like a gag. I can't study another second, like freaking out. And Katie, of course, my superhero, once again, jumps online, finds by 7 o'clock in the morning, she finds me another exam. Nice. This exam is for a month from now, though.
Okay.
But it was the first one she can get me at.
We're studying.
In Queens, New York. I had to go to Queens, New York to take my New Jersey real estate exam.
That's wild.
I go, so a full another month of studying. Now I'm into the summer in my beach house in Lavalette, and I'm still studying. And I thought by then, it was like my birthday's June 13th. I thought by then I'd be done. Now I'm like all the way at the end of the summer, and I'm not even done yet. I take that friggin' test, and I pass. And it is like, the whole world just like releases. I drive home on the BQE. I'm like recording myself driving. Like, now my phone, bro, starts ringing off the hook the next whole week. Like, the owner of Century 21 Real Estate. I don't mean like the owner of a branch. I mean the guy who owns Century 21, like the main guy. All these like high-end brokers from locally in the area, all these high-end realtors that come join my team. I'm like, I don't know anything about real estate. They're like, come and listen. They're like, I listen. Finally, I get to Keller Williams, and bottom line was I wasn't looking for a mentor. I'm 50 years old. I'm not looking for somebody to help me sell something. I was just looking for a place to put my feet down, put my license in there, because my wife is my secret weapon. Her mom is a realtor. Katie grew up as a realtor's kid. She knows real estate like I know preschool and engineering. You hear about it growing up. You learn about it growing up. So she knows everything about real estate. So in the 4 years that I become a realtor, and so once I pass my test, she goes to school, gets the test, passes the test. She doesn't study 1 second. She's got like 2 master's degrees, my wife. She's like a genius, but salesman, she ain't. So with my sales ability and her actual ability, we have the 90-10 rule. I bring in 90% of the business. She does 90% of the business. I've never once sold a home. I have sold 0 homes. You go look at the real estate board. I've sold 0 homes in my life. Katie has sold 49. We've been in business for 3.5 years. We've sold 17 houses this year. That's how many we sold last year.
Beautiful.
We still have the rest of this year to go.
You got a lot of time left.
My goal since day one has been 24 homes a year. I think that's a reasonable goal. I think that's a reasonably attainable goal. I'm not one of these set your goals for the moon and reach for the stars and you'll still get the sky. Like, I'm not that guy. That's just not me. I'm a realist. Right. I think 2 houses a month rotated through my life should be an easy way to do. I don't think it should be a hard get. I feel like that should be a reasonable.
It should be achievable.
I believe so, and I like making achievable goals, and if I beat them, great. So far, I've made a goal that's unachievable, which I like. I'm reaching and climbing. We went from 14 homes to 15 to 17. Now we're back at 17. We're climbing up. We're trying to get to 24. I got one to close in September. I got one to come on the books in September. So that's 2 more. So that's 8. That's 18, 19. Like, you know, she knows the exact numbers, but I feel like if I can find 4 more, even a rental here or something commercial quick, you know, like I'm all about finding, closing, getting to the next one. Katie deals with the minutia. We have title agents. We have lawyers. We have inspectors. We have mortgage agents, you know, mortgage people. We have everybody who knows their side of the industry. It's my job to find clients. Yeah. And luckily for me, I like people and they seem to like me back.
There you go. So you know what parallels later in life, I don't know shit about solving my mental health issues. But what I have done is find people that know a little bit about a little bit what works for them. So like kind of with your business model, you found the mortgage guy, you found the title agency, you found this, and it worked for that. For me, like right now, through my father's death and his illness towards the end, I realized how little any of that fucking matters to me. I need to focus on me and my 3 beautiful kids and the life that they're experiencing now. I had my chance to figure out life up until now. I got to give them the skills to figure out how to do that when they're my age, because I'm going to die at some point. They're going to be left to grieve and push through, just like you had to and I had to, and I hope you never have to experience anything like that. But point I'm saying is you've put pieces in to help you business-wise. I've put pieces in to help me personally and mentally, and it's very similar in that sense. You got people that know what they do, like Dave Seidenberg knows what he does. He got me to start working on breathing. He got me to start meditating. Between him and Pete, they got me in a cold plunge. You got to take life, whether it's personal or business, and equip yourself with people beyond yourself that have a skill set or a knowledge that you can benefit from. Is not the right term, because the relationship shouldn't be beneficial, but mutually advantageous to everybody.
I think you're wrong. I think you should be able to benefit from your friends.
No, you should be able to, but it's got to be mutually.
Yeah. But that's I think real relationship has to be mutually 100%. Advantageous. And, you know, we haven't even touched upon how important our kids are to us in this like episode or whatever, because there's so much going on in real life. But like, I think the 3 of us know our children are our focal point and our world, right? Like, my friends could say they're doing anything, and that's all well and good, and I could buy the ticket and be ready to go. Yeah. Until my children say, but Dad, I have here's the money, just give it to someone. I don't care. If my daughter's playing this or my son's doing that, I'm here for that. Yeah. At 50, listen, so I'm at a point now, and if my phone isn't ringing, don't expect yours to be ringing either.
But that's I don't find that as a problem, because I'm
pretty good about it, Billy. I call a lot of people, and I don't find I get the same reciprocation back.
Well,
that's where it's frustrating.
To this point. No, I get that. But my point is, like, I'm not going to call you every day to check on you. I haven't known you 30 years, but I know that if I called you and I needed to talk, we're cool.
1000%.
But I hope to God that you know, if you called me and you were in some shit or you needed to vent, I'm here to listen. And I will always answer the phone. But at this point, I've had a lot of people that I call daily that don't call me.
Right.
And I just came to terms with that. So the phone doesn't necessarily have to ring for you to know people care, but you got to know that I care enough or Pete cares enough. You can pick up the phone. I'm going to answer. Pete's going to answer. You don't have to worry about the people that don't give a phone.
And please don't take this the wrong way.
No, go ahead.
I don't worry about ancillary friends.
Yeah.
You know, like, I know you're going to be there for me. I know he's going to be there. I'm there for you. But let's call a spade a spade. Have any of us ever been out to dinner together?
No.
Well, you guys might have, but we haven't.
No.
And we even haven't.
But that's what I'm saying. We're still good.
Yes, we are. But what I'm talking about are, like, my boys. Like
I get
my
that.
boys. Like, I'm best friends with my dudes. Like, right? And so this guy's golfing, and this guy's got his, like, everything is about business all the time, and I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
And I don't golf.
Yeah.
And so like, why can't we just talk about, like, our life? Like, go, like, how are your kids? How are your kids? Hey, do you want to go out? Now, I get it. Everybody has different schedules and but to call somebody doesn't take more than 5 or 10 minutes and show that you're thinking of somebody else. Hey, how have you been? hey, I go to Pete's Wrestling. I don't just show up. I ask, hey, is it cool if Teddy and I come? Yeah, of course, love to see you. He doesn't just let it die down there. Afterwards, later, whether it's an hour later, 5 minutes later, or the 2 days later, he's like, great seeing you and Teddy. Your energy's awesome. And we say, like, I show him the text messages. I asked Teddy, do you want to go to Coach Pete or to our other wrestling school? And he's like, Coach Pete, haven't seen him in a while. I miss him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I want my kid to tell me the truth. I want Teddy to, like, know there's all kinds of things out there. He doesn't have to love what I love. He can love whatever he loves. And I leave wrestling with him and I say, hey, bud, if it's like a shitty baseball practice or a shitty wrestling practice, or I say, you don't have to do this. If you want to be a baker, I will get you into cooking classes.
Yeah.
If you want to be a ballerina, if you want to play poker professionally, I don't care what you want to do. I'm your guy. I'm the plug. Tell me where you want to go. I got nowhere else to go. I'm like,
all in on you, buddy.
I'm kind of retired. Like, I sell houses. I work for I own Noble, but like, if you ask me what I do for a living, it's take care of my kids.
I love it.
That's what fucking
awesome.
Because I won't let my work dictate who I am. Bro, I paid off my mortgage. I owe $100 grand on my house. I owe every car you ever see me drive. I owe every piece of DJ. I owe $200,000, $300,000 worth of DJ equipment. It's all mine. I don't own. I own the trucks I buy.
Yeah.
You know that because I buy them from you.
Yeah.
So I don't come with a credit card.
Nope.
I come with green.
Yeah.
I come with money to be spent because I don't spend money on shit I don't have. I won't buy things I can't afford. I won't go places I can't go. I don't eat dinner out a lot. So if I do go, I'm gonna go somewhere nice.
Yeah.
I don't take my family on vacation. We went for some like 5-star 10-day vacation because, quite frankly, if you really want to know, I'm a cat man. My wife paid for that one.
Hey,
She took me out for that one for my 50th. But like, we don't spend money haphazardly. I don't think you guys do either. I see how Pete dresses.
Try not
I know he
to.
don't.
This is all I wear. Pete's wardrobe next to mine is fucking fire. At least Pete's got some style.
Nah, Pete's got some style. You know, Abby bought him that shit. 100%.
My wife makes fun of me because I buy, like, we bought these for work, but I love the way it fits. So I bought one in every color. They had green, red, white. This is all I wear. This exact shirt just doesn't say certified audible.
You know, it does say certified. Oh,
No,
you buy it without the certified.
It, yeah.
You know, it's funny when you were talking before about how like me and people go for a run or stuff. You used to tell me how like, man, if I can get in your shape. Meanwhile, you're sliced and diced now, Billy. You've been going to leaks, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Dude, but you know what? We all find our.
So I'm actually a little disappointed in myself. I got on the scale the other day. I'm 190 pounds. I feel like. You know, I see videos online like you're like a victim.
Where were you at? Like
no, but that's what I'm saying.
Scale victories, I'm the scale monster. I live on the scales. I'm the wrong guy.
See, I don't really believe. I don't believe in the scale.
I wake up every day and weigh myself.
So when I started at Leaks, I was like 208, 210, and a shitty 208, 210.
Yeah, you were all belly. Now you're no belly.
Now, like 6 months ago, in February, I had like a little 6-pack coming in. Life kind of happens. You get a little sidetracked. I haven't really been disciplined in the gym for 3 months. Stressed. I'm down to like 190 pounds. I look like I feel like I look less muscular.
Yeah, you don't feel as good as you did feel. Because you're now judging yourself based on the best version of yourself,
and I'm
which
probably
is cool.
15 pounds less than I was then. But I don't like what I see. I feel like my arms look smaller, my chest looks smaller.
People think the summer.
That discipline back with Heidi.
Yeah, no, I'm working on it.
I'm saying he was talking about discipline earlier.
Oh yeah, no.
And just get disciplined back where you were, and that muscle memory will kick right back.
No, but that's why we had that conversation with Dave. Yeah. Because I feel that.
I must have ADHD because I don't need any motivation from anybody. I feel like I am my own.
You're blessed in that world. Then.
I must have ADHD because all I can think about is my run right now. All I can think about is like sweating and
Did it take this conversation for you to realize that?
No, trust me. My teachers used to tell my mom to give, like, there was no such thing as ADHD growing up. So they used to give my mom, like, the advice of drinking 2 Pepsis before school. So I would have my sugar rush on the bus.
And then crash.
And crash in their class. That was Mrs. Morse in first grade.
Was that was real advice?
That's a real advice at Gribbling School. Oh, yeah. You can ask Miss Morse and Miss Hoffman about those.
Oh, my God.
I can go through every year of these terrible teachers that I had. Miss Morse, Miss Hoffman, Miss Andreyko. It wasn't until Miss Miss Holstart, she was awesome. You know, they go by the 4th grade, I finally got somebody good.
Now,
Mr. Clark was pretty cool.
Was there anybody that, like, actually, you're talking about teachers, and maybe some were positively impactful, some not. Anybody that had, like, a real positive impact on you growing up outside your mother and father?
I would say my parents were the 2 biggest influences on me, but there was a baseball coach that I had. My dad was always my coach, right? So he was always my baseball coach, always everything we did, it was always my dad was the coach. I didn't really know any other coaches. So when I get to, I show up for freshman football, and I never played football before because my parents said I was, well, first of all, I'm Jewish, so that's like, they don't let you play football. And so then I get to high school, and I'm this like big kid, but I was like in bar mitzvah lessons up until that point. So like, I never played football, so I didn't really know much, but I get out there, and I'm this giant. I told you how big I was. I'm like murking kids, like killing it. And they're like, varsity. So I played varsity as a freshman. So then it's like, okay, I played all the whole season, varsity, freshman, and JV. Then it's wrestling season. Well, let me go backwards. Then it's basketball season. I got cut the first day of basketball tryouts. And in my house, there's no getting cut. I've told Pete this story. So I went down to the wrestling gym to Coach Schmiedel, and I was like, can I still try out? And he's like, go talk to Coach Boyce. So I went over to Coach Boyce, and this guy was like old school. Like, he got hit in a motorcycle accident. His larynx got like cut out. He had no use of his right arm. The guy would still beat the shit out of you. And he was like the offensive line coach for football. So I knew Coach Boyce. So he said, can you beat him? And I was like, I think so. And I just went and beat up this kid and pinned him. And he's like, you're the new 189-pounder. And I was like, okay. It was like freshman year. So I was the new 189-pounder, and I got so decent at it, they put me up to varsity again because there was no big kids. Right. I was big. There was no big kids. So here I am wrestling varsity as a freshman. I got my varsity letter as a freshman. Then it's baseball season. The coach that I loved the most was this guy, Lou Lanzolato. This guy used to say shit to us like, if you cheat now, you're gonna cheat on your wife. When we were running sprints. We were like 13, bro. I didn't know what it even meant. I was like, what is he? This guy's lunatic, bro. But he was awesome, and he was like, he was funny, and he was smart, and he was cool, and he saw my potential. Like, he named me, not the captain, I don't wanna lie. He didn't name me the captain. He saw my potential. He saw that I was good at something. He saw that other kids respected me. Was I the captain? No. Was I a leader? 100%. And he made me feel that way. And he was the first coach besides my dad to make me feel that way. So I started playing, and once again, catchers on varsity were on 2 bueno, and so I was a pretty good catcher, and they'd bring me up to catch on varsity. And so that was my trajectory in sports. So yeah, Coach Lou Lanzolato, Schmiedel was pretty awesome also. Gunther Schmiedel from Freehold Township High School. He was a really nice guy.
Schmiedel was there when I was in high school.
I'm sure he must have been. Yeah. He was a guidance counselor. He might not still have been the wrestling coach.
He was a guidance counselor when we were in high school.
Yeah, he was there.
Because I think when you guys went to high school, you went to Freehold Township High School?
I finished at Freehold Township.
Okay, yeah, so then it was
Carl Schaff.
Schaff, yeah. I went to high school with
Just for 1
Schaff.
year.
Yeah, and then it was Jack with Stanley after him.
Well, in between with Scott Lipson and then Jack with Stanley.
Is that Ethan's dad?
Yeah.
Get out of
Yeah,
here.
that's how I know Ethan.
Ethan trains over with Dylan and at Elite. I was like, what are you doing here, bro? Yeah, it's good kids. That's
another year of eligibility that he might be using.
Did you guys have Jimmy Jam, Dr. Hayden?
Dr. Hayden was there, yeah.
And was for a little bit, but we had Dr. Procopio at the tail end.
Get out of
my
here.
Senior year.
Oh, so that's so funny.
My senior year, Procopio, he was the man. I spent a lot of time with him.
So when I first got to take this conversation full circle, so when I got into the DJ world, I worked for a DJ company in Marlboro, and I was like a backup guy. You know, I was a dancer, and they'd put me on like shitty backup jobs. And there was like, let's call me the 4th crew out. So I would do like school dances, communions, like 80th birthday parties, small parties. And they put me with this DJ, JP, John Procopio.
No way.
Mr. Procopio's kid. Now, I didn't go to Marlboro High School or anything, so I don't know who Mr. Procopio is or anything.
Right.
So now JP, John Procopio, is my lead DJ. I'm hanging out with this kid all the time. He's like the coolest kid ever. He's the DJ. I'm the MC. We're doing our thing together. I had to take a summer class at Brookdale from college when I was still in college. So I take the summer class at Brookdale, but I had to go to Freehold Borough High School to get something. And I'm wearing like my hat, and I'm like, and I walk into Freehold Borough High School during summer session, and I get absolutely annihilated by this guy screaming and yelling at me, take your hat off in my building. Who do you think you are? You can't just walk in the street. And I'm like, like I'm like being a jerk off 19-year-old kid. Who is it? Dr. Procopio.
Love that guy.
And meanwhile, I'm like boys with his kid. I had to like figure out it was him. I'm like, oh my God, man, this guy's gonna know it's me. He never let me at his house again. Like, I don't think he realized it. I didn't realize it, but that was, dude, those were some crazy times.
He's such a kind soul, man. I really like Dr.
solid.
Procopio a lot.
He's.
And who was the vice principal? Was Miss Higley?
Miss Higley,
yeah.
We had Mr. Fitzsimmons.
Okay.
I much
Hayden and
preferred
Fitzsimmons.
sitting down with Dr. Procopio as opposed to Miss Higley. It was
Miss Higley.
much
Higley
different
didn't play
dynamic,
games.
yeah.
I don't even know who that is.
From Higley, her sons all wrestled. I coached with
Oh,
her
really?
sons. Yeah, Chris Provo.
That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah,
man.
Miss Higley was tough. Good woman, just tough.
Yeah. Hey.
I think you had to be.
Yeah.
Gotta be.
80s and 90s.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
couldn't
yeah.
get away with anything like you can. Like,
Yeah.
2000s, you're talking
Different
14
fucking world.
to 18-year-old kids who think they got it all figured out. I mean, you better be stern.
Yeah.
My dad signed me out of school one day, and well, he didn't sign me out. He told me to sign myself out. He didn't want to. He was lazy. He didn't want to get out of the car, so I signed myself out to Mrs. Prochnow.
Oh, I remember her at the office.
And I wrote Nunya. None your damn business. I'm the, like, none your, like, who's signing me out? None your business, right? And so she called my mom. And my mom was not one with words. My mom was one with hands. And I walked in from my dad and we were at White Castle, and he took me to a doctor's appointment, and like I thought I was had myself a day. I walk in, my mother beat the shit out of me, and I mean absolutely just murdered me, like 5 stars and throw me through the, and I was like, made me call Mrs. Prochnow at home that night and apologize to her, and I mean you got to respect my mom for that. Yeah, of course. My dad never hit us. My dad was too big to hit us.
Oh, I got the shit kicked out of me.
My mom beat the shit out of us.
I got the shit beat out of me by both of them.
No, my mother was the axe dropper at our house. Yeah, she carried the axe at our house. My dad was my dad wasn't too chill. He was too much of a lunatic. So I've seen my father like punch a hole through a guy's window at the George Washington Bridge and the police take him away.
Yeah, my dad
was
would
like that.
This look.
Yeah. He couldn't hit us.
My dad would like give this look that you just knew. Last night I gave Carter the same look and he started crying.
Josephine does that.
I didn't even say anything.
Yeah.
Like, I just looked at him. Like, Abby tried to tell him no a few times. I gave him this look. Boom, his kid's crying. I'm like, oh, no. And then I felt bad for a second. And then, like, 2 minutes later, he's sleeping. I was like, oh.
Yeah, they're just tired usually. When they act up, they're tired.
Yeah.
They're just tired.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, listen, that kid right there who just opened the door and grabbed my attention because I love him and his messed up hair, he gets to look often when he's tired because it's like he loses a little bit of control and like you're overtired, you're acting out, you're a little cranky, you know?
They start wrestling at the house when they start fighting and it's over the top. You're like, okay, it's time for bed. Yeah, too much giggling. All right.
Yeah,
when they're chill,
yeah,
when they're chill, they're like, okay, it's calm, it's good. But the minute it gets to that boiling point, like, okay, brush your teeth.
Yeah, time for bed.
It's good. You guys have a bedtime? What's the bedtime for the kids?
So we kind of freestyle in my house. I don't like, if it was up to me, they'd all be going to bed like 7:30, 8 o'clock, get in bed, go to bed. Realistically, we go upstairs at 9, and they're all pretty much ready. They fall asleep by 9:30, the latest, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, summertime's got us ramped up a little bit.
Summertime's
we're on
rough.
the tail end of naps, which dictate bedtime a little bit.
That's hard for
Mason
you.
gets tired, but then I get home from football practice at like 8:45.
That's what I was going to say. Football has changed that for Max.
Sometimes they're up, sometimes they're not.
So sometimes we have like 4 o'clock dinner and 9 o'clock dinner.
Okay.
Where we're eating 2 dinners because they come home from camp or school and they're starving, so you got to give them something. Yeah. And I know I'm going to be with them. They come home later hungry. So like, you're like eating 2 mini dinners. It's like it's aggressive. So when my kids were littler, I would say 7 and under. We were getting them not in the summer. Summer's different.
Summer's different.
But like once the time change happens and school starts, 7:30 in the bed, by 8 o'clock. Good night.
Done, yeah.
There you go.
And now it's even around, and my daughter fights me because she's turning 11, but by
she's so
she's
sweet,
awesome.
by the way.
Molly's a good kid.
Just,
Thank you.
know, the interaction she had with Rosie at wrestling, like,
thank you.
She was
And
so
she's got
welcoming.
tenacity on the fields and the
Oh,
basketball
yeah.
court.
Oh,
she's like a good role model.
Well, you've seen her a couple times at wrestling. She's come with me a few times, and she would wrestle like Chase Higher, and I'm like, oh my god, and they beat her, but like they would like be like,
But
she's
fierce, and
nice.
super friendly and compassionate.
She's got that discipline going.
She's solid.
She's got the red cheeks going out there. Like,
so
she's there to compete.
So Katie is a 3-sport athlete. Katie played basketball, softball, and soccer, and she played like club sports in Delaware. So she played in high school all 3 sports and varsity lettered and all of them. And even when I met Katie, she was playing flag football at the Jets Stadium in Florham Park.
Awesome.
Oh, really?
She was the leading wide receiver with 13 catches,
Get
13
the fuck
touchdowns.
outta
No, I
here.
swear to God.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, I play on a co-ed flag football team at Florham Park, like Jets training camp.
Yeah.
Like with the Jets? She's like, no, not with the Jets, but like it's
At their spot.
at their spot.
Yeah.
So like our first real date was to the Jets training camp. I took her to a day date to Jets training camp. They wouldn't sign anything for me. She got me on, well, she's like a sexy blonde. She got Mark Sanchez, Bart Scott, Rex Ryan, Curtis Martin, Nick Mangold, all on one ball.
They had a good squad.
One ball.
That was.
They wouldn't give me anybody. I got nobody. She walked right up. Well, Mark Sanchez was only signing autographs for kids with disabilities or blondes.
Or hot blondes.
That was two. There was only two lines. There was only two lines.
no line.
I feel like that would be for me too. Like
two lines.
I got you guys, and I got those
You
ones.
do
Yeah.
also. Your mom can come down.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I
Yeah.
resonate with Mark Sanchez on
The
that.
Sanchez was very, very. He was
blood
into it.
football.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, but that was. She's the best. And so my kids are a lot like her in terms. They're a lot like me too. Their tenacity is a lot like me. You see Teddy on the wrestling
Teddy's
mat.
a competitor.
He's not.
Teddy's also super nice as well.
Yeah.
He's the nicest person in my house. Thank you for saying that. But
He-
him and Katie are the nicest people in my house. Me and Molly are the wild cards. Molly will stab you. She'll shank you. Like,
Yeah, but you know what? She's
you
nice
touch
to
her
my little girl.
Lululemon.
So.
You touch her Lululemon or her like bubble makeup or something
She's
like.
losing it.
Oh, her drunk elephant makeup. She'll take you out. Man.
I don't know what that is.
Dude, wait till Sephora
Yeah,
and Ulta
I
become a thing.
know. I'm fucked. I got
You
two
are
little
so
girls.
bro. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucked and it's funny because
Yeah.
like you almost got a get out of jail free card. If they're mad at you, you're like, you want to go to Sephora? Like, you're like,
Yeah.
fine. You know, fine. And all of a sudden you got like a date with your best friend.
Yeah,
You're like, all right, okay. I think it's like they're like your mini best friends that
Yeah.
think you're loaded.
Yeah.
You know, they
Fuck.
think you're millionaires.
Yep.
Can we get Starbucks? Can we get this? Teddy's actually super easy. He has a bit of, we say it lovingly, that he has a bit of the tism. He does. He's a math genius. He's not super sociable. He makes friends.
You don't think he's sociable?
He's not. He
Well,
is,
obviously you know him much better than me.
he is
but
sociable, but there's times where Teddy is like done with sociability.
Right.
Yeah.
That happens.
There's
That
times like
happens to us as
Yeah.
we were on vacation.
Well, it happens to me every day.
We were on vacation at a beautiful resort in the Dominican Republic, and it was fun everywhere. And by day 3, he was like, "Can we go home?"
Tapped out.
He was ready to go home. We had 7 more days. Like, it wasn't. So that was the point. I had to start taking him to the gym every day.
There
So
you
on my
go.
vacation,
Good.
I went to the gym with him every day.
Get that energy out.
Dude, you know what he missed? We bought him for Santa bought him for Christmas one year, and we bought him for Hanukkah one year. That's what I hate about Christmas. I get no fucking credit. Hanukkah, all fucking, I was like, hey, they hugged me. During Christmas, they'd ignore me. I have nothing. But so we bought him these wrestling dummies, you know, like that you fill them with like stuffing and clothes and stuff. So he wrestles them all over our house. Like I'm sure the way Mason throws his football around your house is how Teddy is with these stupid wrestling dummies.
Yeah,
Like
I love it.
carries them around all in the backyard, up and down the steps. Like he puts tag team belts on them. Like he tags me in to fight them. Like
I saw
it's
your videos over
all-
the weekend.
It's every day.
You're loving it though.
It's my life. I went to WrestleMania 1 with my
Yeah,
dad, so I'm
that's
a wrestling
awesome.
maniac.
Yeah.
So for my son to be into it like I am, he thinks of Coach Pete's wrestling as his step to the WWE.
I love it.
He has
That's
no goal
awesome.
of like a Sebastian Rivera being like a freestyle Olympic wrestler.
Yeah.
He wants to win as many matches as possible, but that's not his goal. His goal is to be in the WWE.
I love it.
You know that. He wants to be a WWE performer and a vet.
There you
And
go.
why not?
Go hand in hand. Do
There's a female wrestler right now. Her name is Britt Baker, and she's pretty popular, like maybe the most popular female wrestler. And she's a professional wrestler, like a champion for AEW, and a dentist, a
you
real
go.
dentist. And she
That's
practices
amazing.
dentistry 3-4 days a week and wrestles 2 days a week.
That's pretty
and
cool.
That's awesome.
It's pretty awesome, and
Yeah.
that gives him the idea that he could do it too.
That's amazing.
Why
That's what
not?
I need.
Why can't it be him?
Yeah.
Why can't it be him? And
Yeah.
so I'm pretty lucky with my kids. They don't give us any trouble. They're like I said, 11 and 9, besides like makeup and bullshit like that, which is no trouble at all.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, they're not trouble in school. They're not. If anything, I wish they were like a little spicier sometimes. Like I want Teddy to be a little, not Molly.
Okay,
She's spicy. She's spicy enough.
Teddy's got it in him when that whistle blows.
Yes, he does. You've seen it. I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen him with the. I tell him we get in the car, bro, after these tournaments, like, and I'm the one crying in the car, telling him that he's my hero. Because to show the guts that he shows, to be okay. So the other day, and we got to wrap this up. I know you guys got to wrap it up. We went to. So we go to Pete. And Pete got us started on our wrestling journey. So during COVID, Pete had opened the wall rats. And so I saw it and I started checking in with him. And then I got you hooked up with Eddie and you started going to the mixed martial arts place. And that's when I started really going with Teddy. And that's when you let me get shoes and start coaching with him and helping. And I used to just sit on the wall with you guys and I loved it.
And then you became a huge part of everyday practice.
And I loved because Pete gave me something I didn't have before, which was the ability to do something like I wrestled in high school for 4 years, but that was it. Not before high school. Not after it. So I didn't know how much I missed it and how much I loved it and how much it shaped my life, like with diet and health and exercise. Like I was always very chubby, very, very chubby. And so to stay at 185 pounds, my goal weight, is always like this for me. I'm 179, I'm 186. I never get back over 187. That to me is like a no fact. It's non sequitur. I will not allow it. But to see these things happening and to be able to share. So Pete got us into wrestling and it's the greatest. Pete's the greatest human being ever. And no, we appreciate you so much. And I know you know that. But so wrestling season ended after Teddy was like at the Predators 2 years ago. And he said, that's it? I want to wrestle more. Like he showed interest, and like I said, you show interest, I'm your chauffeur. So I just asked our friend Frank where to go, and you were like, Elite's awesome. So we started going to Elite. Elite is Tuesdays and Thursdays. Now baseball season is kind of off season, fall season. We don't play football. Teddy's favorite sport is wrestling. So we dropped in at Sure Thing the other day and got a different perspective from Coach Vinny.
I love Vinny.
He's a lot like Coach Steve.
Yeah.
They're both very Steve. They're both maniacs. They're like both like little cavemen.
Yeah.
You know, they're like I wouldn't want to fight either of them. You know, like they're both absolute units. You know, and Vinny is like, it was Vinny versus the whole class. Like it was Vinny and 40 kids, and Steve's class is Steve and 10 coaches.
Right.
So it was a very unique two separate things. I don't feel like Vinny was overmatched. I don't want to make it sound that way.
No, that never.
It was like 40 kids versus Vinny. And in Steve's scenario, it's Steve and Dylan and Ethan and Danny and Deli and all these guys and Kev, all these coaches. And so like Teddy's wrestling in a group with Drew Dave's kid. Yeah. And so he was getting a lot of attention from Vinny because of that, I think. But like by the middle of the class, like he knew his name. He's like saying, Teddy, come here and do this. Like it was real interesting to see another perspective of it. Doesn't mean I'm leaving Steve and Elite.
No, I hear great things about Elite.
Yeah, no, Steve and Elite are a whole other thing, but Coach Pete is a whole other thing too. Sometimes that wrestling is too much and you got to dial it back and realize Teddy is still 8.
Yeah.
You know, he might be really good at something, but he's still 8 years old for the time.
As a wrestling parent.
And I'm not trying to burn him out of this. If it's anything, I'm like, you sure you want to go to a class on Sunday? He's like, oh yeah, but can we go to Coach Pete today? I was like, okay, let's do it. Because he misses Pete. It's not about the wrestling with Pete. Sometimes it's about Pete.
So for me.
For me too. Not that you're not a great wrestling coach. It's just that your personality is you're not like a caveman. Like those two guys are like, "Argh!" And you're like funny and doing backflips and climbing ceilings and like chasing the kids and they're chasing you. It's like a whole different energy.
So Max is in literally everything. From we do wrestling, obviously. Yeah. Then he goes from like Predator ends. BMX and baseball run at the same time. Then baseball ends. We do more just BMX. Then it's football season. For me right now, I want him to enjoy as much as he can. Now, like last year, I would ask him, like, you want to go to wrestling? Do you want to go to BMX? Whatever. It's not a choice anymore. If we're doing it, we sign up for the season. We're here. We're doing it. We're committed. Now, when there's another sport going on at the same time, like right now, I can't make everyone at Pete's practices. If it's on Tuesday, we have football practices coming into the unique situation. We had BMX and we had baseball at the same time. But But I know if I gave him the choice, if we signed up for baseball and he had 2 practices to choose from, going to Coach Pete's, which is out of season, or in-season baseball, which he absolutely loves playing, he's going to tell me he wants to go to Pete's.
Yeah. Agreed.
He loves wrestling, but he loves the environment that Pete puts together because it's super fucking nurturing. In such an aggressive sport, in such an aggressive world, he knows like he can relax. It's not high pressure. He just turned 7 like 5 minutes ago, so like I don't.
Right.
We're not here.
That's the thing.
Like
Teddy
you said,
plays,
I'm not burning this kid out.
Teddy plays travel baseball, and he's still playing. Like this is in season, off season for travel baseball, fall ball. So we have practice tonight, a game tomorrow, practice Friday. Like so, when I say he's not playing baseball, he has 3 nights in a row of baseball.
Yeah.
So but that's my mentality. Is that's off season.
Yeah.
And he wrestles off season 3 days a week. So on season, he's wrestling 5, 6, 7 days a week, tournaments, all these things, and we still play fall baseball. So when we finish fall baseball,
it's a lot.
And wrestling really starts, and it's just wrestling, it almost is like a deep breath.
Yeah.
Even if it's like Elite, then Predators, then Coach Pete. It's still just wrestling.
You're right.
It's not like, oh, cleats, I forgot your cup, or we didn't wash your pants, or it's like you have 2 singlets, you have all the wrestling clothes or whatever you're wearing.
Yeah.
You know, like you wear anything to wrestle practice. So it is nice, but we're good parents. I think the bottom line, and you should call this episode, is good parents.
Yeah,
because
engaged, 100%.
Because we're fully all engaged. Where there's, I'm sure my friends won't watch this because they don't fucking support, that's a lot of friends don't support people, which is
We've
shitty.
had that conversation on here.
Yeah, it's kind of shitty, but it is what it is. You can't dip on all your friends because they dip on you, but it is what it is. But most of my resentment towards people, as I've only been 50 since June 13th, right? So I don't know why it felt like a switch, but I've started getting so resentful of people who do not take their parenting seriously. My friends in particular, who do not show a real interest in their children and make it where they're like the most important thing. Like, I get it, work's important. We all have to pay our bills. I get it. But don't ever use the words, my kids are annoying to me.
Oh, no.
Don't say that to me. Don't say to me, my kid is the most annoying kid you've ever met. Don't say that to me.
No.
And when you're literally the worst parent ever. And no, seriously, it's because they don't know what good parenting looks like because they either didn't get it or they're not equipped to give it. Some people are too selfish and shouldn't have had kids.
Funny, my father used to tell me when I was a kid, when I was younger, and I was wild. He told me, make sure you're being careful because you're not ready to be a father. And he was fucking right.
At 50 years old, though, Billy, these guys are ready to be dads. Like, their kids aren't babies. It's not like, it wasn't like a mistake. It was a planned occurrence, and your people put their work in front of their family.
Some people
life,
don't realize that shit, though. You made the choice; they didn't. But on that note, I don't mean to pressure anybody, but we got to kind of wrap this up because I do have to be an engaged parent and get to football practice, and I have a bunch of work I have to do.
I got to go run. I'm already 7 minutes later.
So I got to bang out a bunch of stuff.
So we just say goodbye, or how do we do it?
Hold on, man. Guys, I want to thank Lonny for coming in. Like, share. Follow the links, whatever support you can give us. Check out Noble Productions.
Group. Yeah, Narson Property Group is really important to me. It's
Narson Property Group.
Yeah, Noble Productions is kind of on the rinse and repeat level. Eddie Lopez and Phil Anzavino and Dan Emerson, Danny Knaps. My guys in the team turn up, they got it. Like, they do their thing, so I don't have to worry about that. Clients see something, they like something, they book something.
Get to Narson Property Group.
Narson Property Group. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Good job,
Thank you. That was awesome.
Bro.